The first thing that I found really interesting was this IBM research that gets done every 4 years with all the CEOs, thousands of CEOs across the world. And it's interesting, in 2010, they said change management was the name of the game. And by 2014, the word change management didn't even come into the vocabulary. And it was all about thriving in complexity or working with complexity, increasing complexity, and not really managing change projects anymore. It's really about becoming agile and creative in a very fast changing, very pressurized world. And I think the dilemma that we're facing at the moment is that the world is changing faster than business's ability to change. Organizations aren't adapting quickly enough to what's happening out there in the world. And they found with the CEOs, for example, that 79% felt that there's going to be a very high increase in complexity in the next 5 years, and only 49% of them, of the CEOs, felt capable of dealing with that, felt comfortable that they could deal with that, which to me, it leaves a 30% complexity gap. And what a challenge and what an interesting opportunity for our HR people. Our HR people have now got the opportunity to try and lead these CEOs and leaders that really perceive all this complexity but have no idea how to deal with it. And so I see a wonderful opportunity here, and I think the time has come for HR to almost redefine itself, to find a way to be one step ahead and find out what are the changes that need to be made in organizations to take them forward. Well, I think I'd like to just talk about some of the trends. At Ashridge, we've noticed in all our leadership program that there are specific trends, the way that leaders are moving. The first important trend is that there's a definite shift towards the value of human capital. A lot of people are feeling quite offended nowadays by the word human resources, saying that we're not just resources. And you'll see many conferences at the moment about meaning and purpose back into the workplace. So there's a definite increase in the value that's being added or being mentioned towards human capital. And one of the trends, I've noticed 5 particular interesting trends that I think HR should be at the forefront of noticing and responding and leading their organizations towards. The first one is about helping organizations to become more purpose-driven. That profit follows purpose, that organizations, there's some interesting research being done at the moment by Trompreneurs and a few others, where they're starting to look at organizations that are truly purpose-driven, where we believe and feel strongly about something bigger than ourselves, and we unite our people towards that purpose. And that in itself brings a sense of greater meaning, purpose, and mobilization of human capital. So that's the one interesting trend that I've noticed. The other one is specifically then linked to that, which is tapping into intrinsic motivation and not just extrinsic motivation. If you look at the Maslowian hierarchy of needs, in our Western culture, many people have gone beyond the basic needs and are looking for something more, something that will stretch them and spark them and motivate them, something bigger to work towards. And then, of course, the other big thing is to move away from only having change management, but how to facilitate increased agility in the workplace. Helping leaders to do, for example, learn fast, fail quickly, rapid prototyping, building the agility capacity into the organization, I think would be a valuable HR thing to do. And then the other one is that there's a shift I'm noticing moving from that leaders need to have the answers, that they need to provide the vision and direction, towards leadership. And that shift is quite an interesting one. It says that it is really not about should we have distributed leadership, but distributed leadership is there already. It's part of how we operate, and how can we tap into that distributed leadership and create spaces for generative dialogue. So what I'm noticing a lot of successful leaders are doing nowadays is they're having a very clear purpose, the what, and then they release the how, and they allow the distributed leadership. And they see the organization more as a complex living system rather than a machine where they have to pull levers and push buttons. But they create an environment where this living system can self-manage, self-organize, and become more agile. And for that, you need to create spaces for generative dialogue, for self-management, and for the organization to really change its culture towards a more agile culture. And then within that, the final thing is really continuous learning. Learning from our mistakes, trying things, trying something new if it doesn't work, and creating a reflective planning sort of culture in the organization to take it forward. So I'd say in a nutshell, those are the 5 things that I'm noticing in my work that I'm doing with leaders every day, and that I feel HR needs to start equipping themselves more and more to to be the ones that are the pace setters that help their leaders to get there, because they know they need to change, but they've got absolutely little idea of how to do that.